Welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, there's a reason we call them media bots, media goons, because that's exactly what they all are. All of these journalism students working in the corporate media world are nothing but corporate media pawns, little corporate media foot soldiers who do the bidding of their corporate overlords and the shareholders, the media oligarchs who pay their salaries. The days of honest journalism are gone. Or I guess you could really question if there was ever really a time where honest journalism existed. My personal belief is that the only journalist that can be trusted is an independent source. That's why the idea of something like Substack or even YouTube, for instance, has been such an incredible innovation in the world of media. The idea of democratizing the process, democratizing the world of journalism, where people can build and establish their own personal brand, people who aren't beholden to corporate dollars. Their speech isn't controlled by Rupert Murdoch, Pfizer, or the Koch brothers. You know, individuals like Paul Joseph Watson, Mark Dice, Andrew from Don't Walk Run Productions, and many others, people whose integrity, their honesty isn't compromised and not in question. But of course, the same cannot be said for these mainstream media hacks who are constantly getting caught and exposed as nothing but corporate foot soldiers. Yet again, another example here, as a mainstream media journalist is caught on hot mic telling us exactly what her job is. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. You gotta be careful, folks. You gotta be careful. If you work in the corporate media, you honestly gotta live the life of a gangster. Use prepaid phones, try to never really say anything related to business while on the phone or near any proximity microphone. You gotta be really careful. The feds can be watching, the feds can be listening. In this case, the people can be listening. Take a look at this. Reporter caught on hot mic making embarrassing admission about DeSantis coverage. Let's play the clip of this hot mic moment. I'll try to enhance the audio a little bit because it's kind of hard to hear, but just take a look and try to listen really carefully. We'll read the transcript after anyways if you guys can't pick up exactly what's being said.
You're hired. You can do the next film on it.
Now, my job here is to ask the tough questions and make him uncomfortable, I guess.
Good, you go for it.
I'm gonna try. I'll try to at least get one.
There's so many tough questions. I would run out of breath.
I have the three that I want to throw at him. I don't, if they even give us time to ask questions.
There used to be a time when you could actually
Just walk up.
finish up, you'd stand, you'd gather and do it.
Yeah.
Now you're right, it's the time to post conference questioning.
Well, my web manager was like, just run up to him when he gets off the stage and just yell questions at him. I'm like, whoa.
You know, I did that last year when he was leaving FLP, and he just smiled and
yeah, I'm like,
yesterday.
I don't think that's gonna work. I mean, I'll try if you want me to. He already doesn't like the media.
Really?
That's what I've heard.
There you go, a stunning admission. Here's the transcript. My job here is to ask tough questions and, quote, make him uncomfortable, I guess. I'm gonna try to get at least one. And then later admitting that her boss essentially commands her to rush up to him when he gets off stage and yell questions at him. Of course, tough questions that are designed to make him feel uncomfortable. Is that really your job as a journalist? To just be an antagonist to any Republican in charge? Because of course, as we know, journalists are never doing this kind of thing, targeting Democrats now, are they? A journalist's job is to get to the truth, to ask coherent, fact-based questions that are neutral, that isolate the truth and nothing but the truth, getting to the facts. But as you can see here, this is nothing but political, journalistic theater, where the corporate journalism overlords send their little peons, their little pawns, their little journalist, student, corporate foot soldiers to make Republicans feel uncomfortable, to yell loud questions at them, to promote false narratives. This journalist from the clip also mentioned at one point that Ron DeSantis doesn't really like the media. She says that it's her job to make him uncomfortable and to yell questions at him. And then she says, well, he doesn't like the media. Yeah, I wonder why. Maybe it's you. Once again, leftoids ought to be asking themselves the question,
are we the baddies?
yes, You are the baddies. All they do is push false narratives, ask gotcha questions or leading questions, usually promoting nonsense, salacious scandals, or leftoid conspiracy theories. And interestingly enough, that's exactly what this journalist caught on Hot Mic did, asking a question that promotes this absolutely garbage, bogus left-wing narrative. Florida book bans. Why are there empty shelves in Florida schools? People sharing these random photos of empty libraries, supposed empty libraries in Florida, as if all the books are gone because Ron DeSantis is on a book banning rampage. It's a totally false, manufactured, garbage Twitter narrative. And well, Ron DeSantis did what Ron DeSantis does best. He's a fake news fly swatter, and boy did he swat this one out of the air.
Here in Duval County, we have seen bookshelves in schools emptied in response to Florida's new guidelines on books. I'm wondering, is this what
Actually, that video, that was a fake narrative. That was not true. And our press guys, where is Brian back there? He can get you the details on that. This is trying to create some narrative as if that. They hadn't even put the books out yet to begin with. So there's no need for all of that stuff. What they're trying to do is they're trying to act like somehow, we don't want books.
Fake news BTFO'd. Based Ron DeSantis does it again. No wonder the mainstream media hates this guy. He is the fake news obliterator. No wonder they hate Ron DeSantis so much, as he's now hosting and promoting these truth events in Florida, absolutely demolishing the fake news media.
Seen over the last generation, corporate media outlets, legacy media outlets, increasingly divorce themselves from the truth and instead try to elevate preferred narratives and partisan activism over reporting the facts. When they depart from the truth, a lot of times the truth's on the cutting room floor, and the narratives that they're supporting and furthering actually damage a lot of people with lies. One thing is say what you want and truth, and that's fine, and the truth isn't always comfortable, but when you're knowingly putting out false information, and indeed I'd say these companies are probably the leading purveyors of disinformation in our entire society right now.
The corporate media is probably the leading purveyors of disinformation in our society. Absolutely correct. And you don't need to take Ron DeSantis' word for it. Take these fake news journalists admitting the truth behind the scenes, caught on Hot Mic, essentially admitting that that's exactly what their job is. Their job is to promote a narrative, to do the bidding of a certain political establishment, rather than actually doing journalism. Actually, here's a great example from Crystal Ball, from Breaking Points with Crystal and Cigar, an actual honest left-wing journalist, essentially telling us how the sausage is made behind the scenes in the corporate media world. Here she is on the Joe Rogan podcast, spilling the beans, so to speak.
Now, ultimately, shortly before I was let go, I did a monologue when Hillary Clinton was building up to run for president. It was back in 2014, so this was early on. And I did this whole thing that was like, she's sold out to Wall Street. People are going to hate this lady. She's like the terrible candidate for the moment. Please don't run. And I was allowed to say it, right? I delivered my thing. I did it exactly how I wanted to do it. Afterwards, I get pulled into an office and, great monologue, everything's fine. But next time you do any commentary on Hillary Clinton, it has to get approved by the president of the network. Yeah. And think about, I would love to say that I did further Hillary Clinton commentary. There's no doubt about it. But I would love to say that didn't affect me and I was just there to be a truth teller. But listen, I'm a human being. I'm sure I responded to the incentives in that system of like, I don't want to get in trouble with the boss.
For sure.
And that's the way that it works. That's a very blatant example, but oftentimes people know where the boundaries are. They know what they're allowed to say, and so they don't need that direct intervention of censorship. And also, by the way, these people, most of them in, cable news, they're not really there because they're talented. They're there because they're reliable purveyors of whatever it is that network wants to purvey. So that's ultimately why they get the job, and they understand the parameters of the task.
She did one segment about Hillary Clinton, and immediately the corporate overlords shut her down. How is the mainstream media ever to be trusted? There's years and years of dishonest precedents, lies, conspiracy theories, narratives, in many cases destructive narratives that have led to actual war, conflict, and mass casualties. We're not talking about little small potato stuff here. Some might even call it a societal disease. The only media that can be trusted expressed it as independent journalism, an open platform where journalism is democratized. You know, at the end of the day, people talk a whole lot about a free press, talk about the evils of state propaganda and state-run media, but really corporate legacy media and corporate legacy journalism, state media, it's basically the same evil. State media is maybe a little bit further along on the evil spectrum, but at the end of the day, they're both evil. They both bring more harm to society than they do good, and I think there's enough historical evidence to support that claim. Here's more evidence that I know you guys would be interested in. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know that we would love to have you here joining our community. Thanks for watching, friends, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.